Well, hey, welcome back to another episode of Road Noise. Yeah, again, just glad you're hanging out with us. And here, Dad and I catch up and share stories and reflect on just God's faithfulness and goodness to Dad's ministry over 50 plus years of traveling, really the globe, sharing the gospel with countless people. So glad you're here, and I'm glad you're hanging out with us. And I'm curious, Dad, where we're headed to tonight.
Hey, let's stay in Michigan. Let's just go about 50 miles north of Grand Rapids. Yeah. And as we were talking earlier, I don't know if I've shared this story before or not, but if so, my apologies. Um, my grandmother used to start a story to my mom, and my mom would say, "Mom, you've already told me that." And Granny would reply by saying, "Well, let me tell it one more time."
Yeah, very
So
good.
if I have told this story before, then just let me tell it one more time. We were traveling in the bus, and the bus is kind of like home away from home in some respects. It had a makeshift kitchen, it had a makeshift bathroom, it had a makeshift bedroom, it had a makeshift living room. Kind of all the comforts of home, but not really. These were things that we could use, but they really weren't anything fancy. Not like having a motor home or a travel trailer, fifth wheel, or something like that today. But that's what we had. And we put a lot of miles on that old bus. But one of the things that it didn't have that we really could have put to good use was some way to stay warm. A lot of the trailers and campers and everything have a furnace of some sort, electric heater, built into them, or propane furnaces and so forth. We had none of that. We had heat going down the road, that came from the engine. But once we got to the church, we had nothing. Okay, and this was before the days of, what is it? The little buddies and so forth that are safe to use in a confined area. The very best we had was an old kerosene heater. That thing, I'm surprised we didn't all wake up in heaven using that thing. But so we really didn't like using that. It put out some pretty nasty fumes. Well, anyway, so here we are in the fall of the year, and we've to do a program at a church on a Sunday morning, and we'd made arrangements to get into the church on Saturday night so that we could get everything set up and so forth. And this was just going to be me and your mom, just the two of us doing this program the next morning. If I remember correct, Grandma and Grandpa had come to stay at our place with you and Karen at that time because Mom was expecting the twins. So this was, 43 years ago then, or thereabouts? Yeah, maybe 44 if we're talking the fall of the year before they were born then the following March. Well, anyway, so it's the fall of the year. We get to the church. We get in that evening, and the two of us got everything set up, and we're parked there at the church. Pastor had given us a key, and so we could get in early the next morning and make the final, get the puppets out and everything, and be ready to go for that Sunday school morning time. Well, anyway, so we got everything set up, and now we're back out to the bus. It's time to get some sleep, and we got work to do in the morning. And we crawled into bed, and it's cold, and couldn't get to sleep. I mean, it's cold. And the thought kind of crossed my mind, I don't know what the temperature is going to be tonight, but I suppose if we did go to sleep, we could freeze to death. I mean, I don't know, those things happen. We laid there for quite a long time, just miserable. And so finally, your mom had an idea. She says, "Why don't we go in and sleep in the church?" Well, That's better than staying in the bus and freezing to death, that's for sure. So we got the key. So we go into the church. And not real proud of this, kind of embarrassed about it. We slept inside the tent. All right, so it wasn't a real tent, but it was our puppet stage. It kind of resembled a tent. You know, if the thing was set up outside, I mean, you know, you got posts and a covering, it's kind of like a tent. And that's where we spent the night. Sleeping on the floor, the front of the church, in our puppet stage. Now, we did have half-inch closed cell foam pads that we used to kneel on when we were doing the puppet programs. So we laid those out on the floor. But other than that, it's just a hard floor. And that's where we spent the night. Like I said, I'm kind of embarrassed about it because I'm laying there and all I could think of is I'm a lousy provider for my wife. We don't have a decent place to stay. We don't have a warm place. Okay, so we're staying here inside the church where it's warm, but we're sleeping on the floor. I am a lousy provider. And it's not just for my wife, but she's expecting twin babies. And here we are sleeping on the floor. And the thought crossed my mind, I wonder if maybe that might have been how Joseph might have felt when he really hadn't provided a nice motel or place to live, you know, before Mary had her baby, Jesus. So maybe Joseph was feeling the same way. I am a poor provider. But you know, God did provide for Joseph, and Jesus was born in a very humble situation. Great example for the rest of us. I mean, if here he is, the king of the universe, being born in a stable. I mean, talk about humility. If he can do that, then I guess sleeping inside a puppet stage on the floor of a church, I'm no better than he is. He's far better than I am. And if that's all was provided for Joseph, then I need to be content with what's been provided for us tonight. Fortunately for us, those twins weren't born that night. They ended up being born in a hospital just a few months later. But anyway, so just thought I'd share that story. The bus really didn't have all of the comforts of home.
Yeah, I remember some cold nights on the bus. I remember that kerosene heater as well. I just love this story though too. That what a great reminder that God could provide, and it's sometimes maybe not what we had in mind, or maybe not what we hope for, but it's probably what we need.
Adequate.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've ever paid attention or not, but it's kind of.
I can tell you the answer.
I've.
No.
Oh no. Okay.
Was that the question? Do I ever pay attention?
You got the right answer anyway. I've noticed that clowns quite often have stiff necks, and I found out why.
Hmm.
It's because they sleep funny.
Oh, they can't help it either.
All right, so if we're talking about sleep, where does a librarian sleep? That's obvious. Between the covers.
Oh, come on. Between the covers. That's what I'm going to tell the kids.
Hey, I got one more for you, though. Got one more. Got one more. Yeah, let's do one more. What did the gingerbread man sleep on? The cookie sheet.
A cookie sheet.
Okay, so now you got something to share
Yeah.
with the kids.
Yeah, I'm gonna share love or torture or however you want to call it. Yeah, it sounds good. Well, but I guess let's park it here and stay warm. It's currently 83 degrees right now. So just,
I was thinking about this earlier today about recording this. I thought, this is a story we ought to record like on Christmas Eve or something.
yeah, right.
Yeah, but Christmas in July. All right, so it's not quite July, but we're getting close.
Yeah. Sounds good. We'll park it here and pick it up again next week.